Welcome to Dynamite Delight. And before I get started, I just want to address this right now. I'm not going to wait until the end of this video and this review. Did they make up for Revolution? For many people, they'll say yes. Others will say, hell no, it was garbage, who cares? And there's going to be people in between. Me personally, this didn't make up 100% for Revolution, and I'm not expecting it to. Honestly, I'm not. It's not going to be 100% to take back what had happened. The overhyping of Christian Cage and our own expectations, as well as the end of the show and the messed up pyro. There's no way you're going to get anybody to be 100% happy, either or. So this is what you get. But this was a very good show with a very good swerve. We didn't expect it. Now, we got Rey Fenix versus Matt Jackson. Since the Jacksons, the Bucks, they don't usually do singles much. They always do tag. That's just how it is. It's very rare for them to do any singles. Was this a good singles match? It was pretty good. You did have Nick and Pac at ringside. They generally did not interfere. Neither one of them touched the other. That was a set. That was not even an inkling in this match. Until a couple of accidents happened. When Ray kicked Nick in the face, and then Matt decides to take out Pac because he thinks he's going to do something to Nick. That's the only time there was any interaction. Other than that, there was nothing. There was some very good wrestling, high-flying wrestling, a lot of spots. That was the major thing of this match. But for me personally, when you got the same size guys doing almost the same things, it feels a little boring. Not because they're not giving their best effort. It's because you're basically mirroring two same size guys doing almost exactly the same type of style. Now, of course, Rey Fenix is way different than Matt Jackson in their style, but they're both high flyers and they have done similar things, so it is mostly the same stuff. It wasn't a bad match, and I'm sure many people are going to enjoy it. It wasn't the best match of the night for me personally. I have my own thoughts on that one. Now, Kingston with Moxley. Now, they tried to cover this up. Look, they tried throughout the night, Damage Control. Pretty much when it came to Kingston and Moxley, when it came to Kenny and Don, they really tried to make this mean something. Bad pyro, there was just no other way to do it. Honestly, they tried their best. There's just no way they're going to 100% clean it up. But I did like how Kingston talked, saying, look, the reason I passed out, because it made me worry about when I was about to get locked up in Rikers. Generally speaking, it wasn't exact word for word. But I will say this, the interaction between Moxley and Kingston is actually very good. You can see that these guys know each other very well in real life as well as wrestling one another because of the way they acted towards one another. They were just acting like themselves. Now, if you don't think they were acting like themselves, that's your perspective. But for mine, dealing with somebody who's from New York, because Kingston's from New York, dealing with someone from another part of the country who has a similar attitude, they both act like they both been in the streets, basically acting the same way. They're buddies for life. That's just how they both look and act, and that's what you got. Now, Cody versus Seth. I don't remember his last name. This was a short match. Really, I don't know. This is the first time that Seth got on main Dynamite TV, and he basically got destroyed pretty damn quick with a figure 4 leg lock. And it wasn't about that. It was about after the match and Pentagon Jr. dealing with a Cody Rhodes. Now, here's the thing. Penta talked well. He had an interpreter, which helped, and Penta does talk some English, which even made it more better. But the problem for me personally is this. Basing this on Revolution, I would have liked them to build into it to the point where Penta had been checking out Cody's matches and saying, you just... And Cody's going, what? What do you want? And he says, not good. And he walks away. I think if he had done that a couple of times in my perspective, because this short little thing doesn't feel right. because it feels like it should have been built over several weeks to a month easily. Because Pentagon Jr. should have been watching Cody, because Cody says he's basically the GOAT, and Penta is a god in his mind. You got the god looking at the GOAT, and looking at the GOAT saying, please, you're an American wrestler who's half Colombian. You ain't like me. I'm pure Mexican, baby, and I do it better than you. That's kind of like the attitude they could and should have. And then when it came down to the ending where Penta insulted Cody by saying, if I was in a match with you single, I would have taken out that arm and then you would not be able to touch your daughter or hold her. And him flipping the script and ready to beat the crap out of Penta, which he did, that would have been better over a couple of weeks build up, not just one episode. That's just me. Now you guys tell me, do you think that they should have built this over a 3-week or maybe a month ahead of time? Even if Penta could not wrestle, if Penta had been sick, that's something that's understandable. But if he was taken off TV to go with the story of Ray and Pac, then he could have been involved in some way watching, maybe doing the Titantron, and pretty much saying exactly what I said. Let's move on. Sting had his moment putting over Darby Allin. And then Lance Archer comes out pretty much saying, I am now the face of the revolution. I want my moment. No one's giving it to me. Now, here's the thing. There's no problem stepping into Sting, because this could be leading into Sting dealing with Lance Archer. But here's the problem. And it's obvious. And a few people I've heard are talking about this. Lance Archer's talking by himself now. He's not using Jake Roberts anymore. Jake is an afterthought. And he doesn't fit. Jake should leave Lance and go to somebody else. Honestly, I think Jake should move on to another talent to help put them over. Because that's what I think should be done. Because he's not really contributing anything to Lance Archer anymore. Jake is a talker that is in a class by himself, even with his messed up throat. And I can tell you, he needs to be with somebody else that can really gain something from him. Staying with Lance is not helping. If he's not generally talking for Lance now, what is the point? Him saying, bye Cody. Well, no, bye Sting, not Cody. Bye Sting. You see I'm forgetting because he was like an afterthought. What is the point? He wanted to break in and talk over Lance. But he had to wait until Lance was done with his monologue before he was able to say, bye Sting. And that it makes no sense. For me personally, it doesn't make any sense. That's just me. Tell me below. Now, Ethan Page versus a Lee Johnson. I had an issue. It sounded like something was going on. They was playing basketball in the background, and I thought, well, maybe there might be something wrong with my computer. Because that has happened on Linux. Sometimes you get sound from another channel when you're looking at something on a website. And I was on a website that had other stuff on it. But it came directly out of AEW. And I was wondering what the hell would happen. Someone messed up in the production truck. Eventually, I had to go to another site to see if there might have been a better stream. And there was. And I watched the rest of the match. Ethan is the man. For me personally, he is all ego. I'm glad to see him on AEW. He guys got talent. He can talk. He knows how to do it. And here's the thing. Ethan beats you know what it was all about? QT Marshall finally walking away. Because once Ethan beats Lee and then beats him down, QT Marshall does not get into the ring. He's seeing Lee getting his butt kicked and asking for help, and he's getting upset. And then once he gets beat by Ethan, then gets beat down, he leaves it. And then it's Dustin who runs out to try and stop Ethan Page, and then you see QT Marshall walking away. So it's more about QT Marshall dealing with Dustin than it is about Ethan Page at this moment. Lee at this moment, it's nothing unless you can have QT Marshall be Ethan Page's manager for a little while. And then you have, Lee dealing with Dustin, and they're using both of them as, using them as pawns in their fight against one another. QT being the way he is, and Dustin being the way he is, which culminates eventually dropping those two and bringing them into a match, which seems to be the best way to do it. That doesn't mean it will happen, but that's just what I'm seeing. The Page Money Train. I don't know what else to say. You got Adam Page now being interviewed by Marvel, wondering, so how does it feel to be able to use the quarterly earnings of a Matt Hardy? Well, he said he got himself some I think he said he got a whole bunch of Jack Daniels. He did a couple of the things, and he bought himself a lawnmower. Allows the Inner Circle, the Dark Order, but Angel to get on his vehicle, and they drive off, and Angel's not allowed because they said there's a weight limit. And then you see a Matt Hardy later in the show pretty much saying to Private Party that you too must get revenge on the new show that's coming out. And just to make sure you get a little bit extra, I now sign these people. Butcher, Blade, Bunny. Big Money Matt's team is growing. And that's beginning to get me a little nervous, guys. We now have a lot of factions inside of AEW. Sometimes it's great to have factions, but then you got to be careful how many factions you're putting into a show. Because if you got like 5 or 4 factions, that's cool. But if you go beyond that, it gets a little nerve-wracking. Because if you get too many factions, there's a very good possibility that you'll bog everything down with factions instead of making about singles or tag teams. That's a very big worry for me personally. You guys tell me below how you feel. Now, the 6-woman tag. Maki Ito. Finally know how to spell her name in the sense that I had to break it up into several pieces because I kept forgetting how to spell or pronounce Ito. Well, you got Maki Ito, Britt Baker, and Nia Rose versus Thunder Rosa, Shida, as well as Mizuyami. There you go, Mizuyami. You know what I would like? This is just me. Because Thunder Rosa is working with AEW, even though she's probably still signed over to NWA. And I have to say this about NWA. If you go to their YouTube channel, there's no videos but saying they're back. And when you go to their website, there's only one statement. We are back. And everything else is gone. They literally wiped everything off their website and their YouTube page. Why? What was the problem of keeping the older NWA Power episodes? There's nothing there now unless you know of an archive of NWA Power and not doing Carneyland or any of those other things they were trying to supplement, which really didn't get them anywhere. I want to see NWA Power. I'd rather see some of the old episodes because wiping out your entire history is not the wisest thing to do. That's just me. But because I brought in Nia Rose and I brought in Thunder Rosa, I would like to see them become a tag team and be the thorn of the rose. That's what I think would be good. You got Nia Rose. You got Thunder Rosa, both having the rose in their name. Having Vicky Guerrero in the background saying that this is my team. This is the thorn of the rose. And they're going to wipe out everyone. Not saying there's going to be any tag titles for AEW. But at least you'll have something special. A small woman's faction of Nia Rose, Thunder Rosa, and Vicky Guerrero. Who's a thorn in everyone's side saying, "Excuse me!" Damn, that hurt. You get my point. The match was not bad. And I think the match that was on the kickoff show could have been put here. I know I've heard more than a few people say that the kickoff show match was better than the title match. Well, guess what? It should have been put here, which could have promoted more for Britt Baker, more for Thunder Rosa, because at the end, once Thunder Rosa managed to get the pin, she gets her butt whooped, she gets the lockjaw, and she gets a crutch to her neck. If you're going to do all that, you should have done it here. That's just me. Now, the match of the night for me, the TNT title match of Scorpio Sky versus Darby Allin. I found this match to be much better than when it came to Ray Phoenix and Matt Jackson. You know why? Matt Jackson and Ray Phoenix are about the same size. They're roughly the same build. And they almost have the same skill set. Yes, Penta is different. Yes, there is a level of difference. You got Matt, you got Penta. Yes, but if you take away that special extra that he does, they basically do almost the exact same moveset. They are pretty much the same. There's no lie about it. They do. So if you think about that, you look at their match, it was good, but it was not the same as this one. Because in this match, they decided at first to do chain wrestling. Then they decided to go and do some really physical wrestling. And then there was a little bit of high flying, not much, very little. But when it came down to it, was a more well-built and more well-built and well-rounded match. Then when it came to Ray and Matt, it is. This could easily be, for me personally, this could be a match of the year candidate. I'm not going to do a match of the year candidate because I'll have to make sure I find a way to keep the match so I can remember it, because it's easy to forget when you look at so many matches throughout the entire year. It's easy to forget what was going on in the match, not just remembering that it was the match of the year. So if I was going to do that, I have to do something special for it. I'm not saying I do a match of the year type of show. Just, it could be easily a match of the year if you see it for what it was. You got Darby Allin winning. He's supposed to win. He should have won, especially after that really rough street fight on Sunday. But then you got Scorpio Sky flipping the script and doing a heel hook, which was messing his ankle up, because at one point in the match, Darby Allin tried to sell an ankle injury. Now his ankle is really screwed up. And then you see this picture in my face of this handsome devil sticking his tongue out saying, "What the hell did I do? But I think I like it." That's the type of look he gave. I see Scorpio Sky being a good heel if they push him right. And letting him deal with Darby Allin is perfectly fine with me. But you know who I think should work with him? To give him a little bit extra if he really is not really there yet when it comes to his promos or his character. Guess who? Jake Roberts. Needs to see this boy. Say, "I've seen you. I look at you and I see that you got something. I'm not needed anymore when it comes to Archer. Let me manage you. Let me bring out your full potential, my son. I will make you a man. I will make you a star." And I think that's how it should be. Lance Archer doesn't need Jake Roberts. But a Scorpio Sky could use a Jake Roberts to help him build up his promo skills, to help him build up his character. Then when he's done, moves on to the next person. Now, finally, and if I'm forgetting anything, sorry. I'm trying to be more fun in these videos, guys. I'm sorry if I seem a little silly. Look, you do 9 years worth of videos going, what is it, 1456, 1458, or 1456, I can't remember, 5400, or, I'm not saying 5400, I just screwed up in there. You see how I botched? Now you know I have the Gump Report. And I may actually do an episode of Gump Report after this, talking about Triple H and the rumor of him being fired from NXT. I think I will do it. But I've done 1,450 some odd videos. And you need to change it up to have some fun. And I try to be really straight with this, and I don't try to mess up. But you know what? I want to try and have fun. I want fun. And when you see this Inner Circle War Council, you're going like, it's going to be the way you think. You're going to see MJF do what he needs to do, and he does not do what you think he's supposed to do. The MJF, what was True Plot. I think that might be the name. Yeah, I think I'll use that as the name. MJF is in the ring with everybody. You got Chris saying, we need to change course. That happens in war. You need a war council. Either we're going to change pace or bring someone in. And MJF is trying to tell him, no, you don't need to bring in an extra person. We probably need to get rid of somebody. And then Sammy Guevara Sammy Guevara comes out and he's trying to convince Chris, hey, don't fall for this. Look at what I got. And on the Titantron, he shows a video recording of MJF, Pride and Power, and Hager being set up to, well, convincing them to get rid of Chris Jericho. And once he says, you know what, we don't need you now, Chris, he's telling them, get him. They walk up to Chris, they're about to throw hands, and guess what? They all turn around and face MJF and say, what? What, you don't think we talk to each other? You don't think the Inner Circle cares about one another? You're fired from the Inner Circle, and before we let you go, and you are fired, you're going to get a nice little ass whooping from the Inner Circle. And then MJF pleads, saying, look, I did not want to take over the Inner Circle. I was too busy making my own. Wardlow, Dash, Wheeler, Telly, Spears, all come out, whoop some ass, and then throw a Chris Jericho off the ramp and onto two tables and obliterates him. Necks and bleeding. You see him on my face. We didn't expect that. I didn't expect it. And I'm glad I didn't expect it. Because even though it made sense for MJF to actually become the runner of the Inner Circle, having his own faction, not a bad thing. You don't normally see that. You usually see someone take over someone's faction. You don't see someone cleverly, because MJF is a freaking genius, keep everyone off balance thinking I want your faction when I'm trying to build my own faction. So if I did build my own faction without you, you notice, and then you try to take it down before I actually get it done, before it's ready. So now I keep you busy thinking I'm trying to take your faction while I'm building my own, and when I got it, I'm going to annihilate you, which he handcuffs Santana Ortiz. Hager gets taken out. Sammy gets taken out. It was ugly and it was good. Now, as I said in the beginning of this review, there's no way it doesn't recover 100% for what happened at Revolution. Not everyone's going to believe that. A lot of people won't still be happy about Revolution, what happened with the Pyro, and what happened with Christian. And I am going to cover, and I've left this out purposely, about what happened with Kenny Omega, the part about Christian Cage coming out. I'm going to put that in my Gump review. Why not? But was it good? Hell yeah. The show was good. But it doesn't make up 100% for Revolution. But it's not meant to. It doesn't have to. But this is just my point of view. Peace.